Good evening, one and all. Welcome to the Wor Lasses Show, your one-stop haberdashery for Newcastle United Women updates, interviews, news, and all your latest Women's Euro 2025 updates. If you are just switching over from the preview show, thank you very much for joining me this evening. And as ever, I like you to get in the likes nice and early. It certainly helps us in the search results. We want to promote the women's game. We want to promote the show. So please help me out with that. Love seeing your comments in the chat to each other, to myself. Super chats are guaranteed to be read out as well. As ever, Hulk smash the subscribe button and hit the bell for your TTR content. Big thank you as ever to Mama Roo Records, channel sponsor, like all your merch, your vinyl, your CDs, your gift cards, all of that lovely stuff. Whitley Bay, say that you are a TTR viewer and get some cheeky mates rates in time for Christmas. Help with the Christmas budget. It's all good. Last night was a really special show for us on the channel. For those of you who maybe didn't catch it, please go into the history, find the show. Myself and Paul had the honor of interviewing Georgia Gibson, our number 10 for Newcastle United Women, and my goodness, what an extraordinary individual. Absolutely brilliant. Please get in the comments, let me know what you thought of that, because I thought it was just fantastic. I thought she was just unbelievable. A credit to the club, to the area, and such an inspiration to young people. We got some stories that you probably weren't aware of from her history, how she's come about to be at the club. You know, there's a little story in there about Maradona as well. Unbelievable. So please go and check that out. I think there's about 2,600 people who viewed it already. So get in there and please do check it out, because there's some fascinating insights into this season so far, the journey, how the training and tactics have changed. So it's a really interesting one. So yeah, do check that out. And also her new business venture, which is Belter Clothing, which I was modeling the hat for last night as well. And Joe's in, yes, she's got our order in there. Wacky, all right, mate, what a great show last night. Pure belter. Yes, we are loving that. Alan as well, good evening to you, Alan. Belter show last night. Everybody's just loving it. Yes, absolutely. Very interesting person. Totally. She was absolutely fascinating. So thanks for your feedback, everybody. Just a brilliant person. So easy for us to interview as well, and a legend for the club, without a doubt. As ever, you know that I do like to kick off with some general lasses news in the world of women's football, and before moving on to Newcastle United Women. So I am going to give you the Lionesses update. So plenty going on in the build-up at the minute. So the Women's Euros 2025 just round the corner and knocking on the door. You're probably sat planning where you are going to be on New Year's Eve this year, and we are all absolutely looking forward to the Euros taking place, hoping to replicate that 2022 historic victory. Now, the draw has indeed taken place, and we have been placed in Group D. As you can see there, we have Wales, the Netherlands, and France within that starting group. And there's been a few memes going on online. If you're not familiar with the international women's game, it's quite amusing. Wales has made history. It's the first time that they've reached the competition, and this was probably my favorite meme that I just wanted everybody to enjoy, because this probably encapsulated how I feel how the Welsh team must be. But one of our lasses is representing. We've got Joel in the side there, so absolutely phenomenal achievement for Wales. It's got to be said. However, the group that we've been placed in, a lot of people on the socials are saying it's the toughest group. So in my mind, the D stands for death, because it's a really, really tough group that we've been placed in. But for me personally, I feel like, have we as England forgotten who we are? Not just in the men's team, but in the women's game. Like, we have 5 of FIFA's World 11 in our squad. Um, I just feel like we've got the talent, we've got the young talent coming through as well. Like, a lot of people, the likes of Naz getting her first start as well. Absolutely phenomenal. So I just think that we need to have a little bit more faith, people. We absolutely need to get behind the lasses for this campaign. So let's everybody calm down. I think we're going to do a great job, despite recent slips in performances. There's obviously things to work on that Wiegman is already been addressing after the game interviews and things. So I think we're going to be all right. I think we're going to progress throughout the stages, but like, fingers crossed. Great news is that Aaron and I will be bringing you all of the Lionesses news and some really exciting content as well during the women's Euros. So please look out for that one as well. We thought we'd bring like a little different flavor. You know, we always cover the women's England news on here. So when we've got that break, we're going to be covering the Lionesses. So please do tune in and look forward to that one. We've got the fixtures all lined up as well. So the fixtures have already come out that are going to be starting in July, when we are going to be kicking off. If you do cast your minds back to very recent times, it's St. James's. We played France there. We did, I believe we lost to France. It was quite a tough game, that one, but actually nailed it on the return fixture. So yeah, it's going to be a really tough team, tough team to beat. So we do have the other draws which are coming up here. So we've got the groups which have been announced. So you can see some are more favourable groups than us. So you can see probably now why we are called the group of death. But that gives you a little bit of a flavour what we have to expect from the women's game. Now, prize money has increased massively for the Euros, which is awesome. They have gone up to 41 million pounds worth of prize money, over 150% increase in that since the 2022 Euro campaign. Each team are going to be getting 1.8 million for participating in the quarterfinals, with additional bonuses as well. Interestingly, they've also made some rules in there, because there was some controversy in the last round of Euros due to some of the women teams not actually getting paid their wages. So they've made sure that national associations must allocate 30 to 40% of any prize money to those players. We know there's a discrepancy in the wages for the women's game. So this gives some insurances for the lasses who are putting it all on the line for their club and country. Final bit on the Euros, which I found quite fascinating actually, and I don't know if you folks have seen this at all, but Adidas have released their official ball. They are the manufacturers. They've won it for the Euros campaign, but it comes with a bit of a techie twist. It's ball technology now, and it's meant to enable a faster and more accurate officiating. It's got decisions that are going to help all the officials on the lines actually decide on their rules, on what they think is either a pen, offside, or anything like that. And it comes with precise ball locations, along with real-time accuracy and AI to support it as well. I'm intrigued how this is going to play out. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. I'd be interested to know if it would, I don't know, make a difference to the players at all. So that's going to be an interesting one to see. So let's keep an eye out for that one. Now, on to your Newcastle United update as well. As ever, we do like to bring you the news from the lasses, and we've been celebrating a birthday recently. Our Demi Stokes, and there she is, with that Euros medal and trophy. Absolutely fantastic. She's one of ours now, which is absolutely tremendous. So loving that. Many happy returns there. So I love that the Lionesses Instagram celebrated the birthday with that photo. Absolutely iconic. Now, of course, before I go on to a bit of the Manchester United game, before bringing on a very special guest this evening who's going to help you enjoy even more of the Newcastle United women's matches, we do have to talk about the Women's League Cup. Unfortunately, we are out after the loss against Manchester United. What I will say is it's been quite an interesting competition, as ever. Probably not the most favourable of draws, but here are the results. You can see us on the second line there. Manchester United beat us 5-3. But a gallant performance from the lasses, no doubt. Interestingly, at the bottom there, we've got our two local rivals. You have got Sunderland 1, Durham 2. So thrilled that the Mackhams got beat off Durham, but Durham, easy enough ride. But I do only jest, of course. Wishing them the best of luck. Any sort of local teams, competing and representing the region is great. Been better if it was us, but hey, we had some very tough fixtures, but nevertheless. The Manchester fixture, really tough one to take. We do still have a couple of injuries there. So Furness is still out. That has been going on a while now. Furness has been helping with commentary with the women's games when they performed at Newcastle at Kingston's Park or St James's. Potts is out as well. You can see I'm rocking me Potsy Christmas top because I absolutely love the bones of her. Body as well after getting injured in her warm-up for the England under-23 Lionesses. So yeah, really disappointing there that they weren't in that starting 11, but hopefully that winter break will give the lasses some well-deserved rest and recuperation in time for January. Now, although we're out of the Women's Cup, we had a very difficult group made up of WSL teams, which is the league above our own. If you're not familiar with that, look at the draw. Strikes again for Newcastle United, but a really great performance that I think we could all be really proud of. And please get in the chat if you were down at the game or if you managed to watch it. I categorically refused to subscribe to the Manchester United channel and give them $7.99. Absolutely not. I was not going to do that. I was on a live show, and a lot of you probably saw my real-time reactions because I was on a show while watching the written commentary for it. Really fantastic. It was great to see Cataldo getting a block in there when it was squared across the box, and Cooper just coming to life recently, which was absolutely phenomenal. So really pleased to see her sort of find our stride as well. So she was running like Sonic the Hedgehog at one point to get the goal in. So it was really great to see. Quick chat here, PD. All right, PD, please go and check out PD's channels as well. Couldn't fault the effort at all. Yeah, absolutely right, mate. It was a great performance from the lasses, and I think you could really see a hunger that was within them as well. So I do want to talk about Cooper first of all, because I've been one to criticize Cooper this evening. I think she's taken a while to get herself bedded in with the team, but she goes in, wins the duel, she's off like an absolute rocket, and gets the equalizer before the defense can even stop her. Now that equalizer comes off the back of a very unlucky own goal within 9 minutes from one of their 9 corners as well. So a little bit of synergy there. But Cooper's had 2 goals in the last 2 matches now. So fantastic solo display to hit the back of the net. So yeah, credit where it is due. She seems to be hitting her stride and understanding her teammates a lot better now, which is absolutely brilliant. Moan uncharacteristically beaten at the near post, unfortunately, by Watson for Man U, and our defence just was not quick enough, I'm afraid, to get back. What I will say is Man U, if you're not familiar with them, has a phenomenal team there. They've got England internationals in there. Letitia had, a build up on that first goal as well, and 1 shot wide of goal. So she was absolutely brilliant. So the first half was excellent viewing, especially for a neutral. It was end to end stuff where we really seemed to hold our own. Amy Andrews coming to the party. Welcome, lass. Where have you been? Starts with, a goal kick from Moan, and it just dropped beautifully at Andrews' feet. So extremely great accuracy on Moan's distribution. And I think we've seen a lot of that this season as well, which is really, really pleasing. We're seeing more and more of that, which is great. Andrews, 1 defensive player ahead, then 3 defensive players ahead, and just sends it into the left. Just goalkeeper goes the right way, but she's got too much on it. And that gives us the lifeline straight away in that second half. And the crowd is just roaring because that's absolutely what everybody needed. And again, there's been criticism for Andrews this season. I love that she makes the runs. If you've watched the previous shows, I'm always coming to Andrew's defense, but Aran quickly tells me she is a striker. So note to self, more output is needed. But she showed up. She showed up, and she got the goal to give us the impetus, I think, that we needed for that second half. Moan again, goal kick does fall to a Man U player. Unfortunately, it's cleared, but Williams does score. Moan is just not in the box. Really unlikely performance from Moan. It's a very, very tough game. She's had to keep that concentration. And then we see the free kick that's given. Gabby George gets the easy goal. Probably one for me. No one is really stopping that one. So I'm not going to blame Mo for it. 5th goal, I can't see that Moan actually makes too much of an effort. She doesn't go for it. She doesn't fall for it. I'm thinking perhaps the heads drop, but yeah, it was a really good goal. It was very, very quick. And big congratulations to Joel being subbed on. Gets the extra time goal as well. It's a free kick from Newcastle United, headed in the air, controlled the ball so well, and takes the strike from like 30 yards rather, to get the goal. So absolutely fantastic. And what I will say is, if you didn't manage to see the game, Manchester United missed chances. So Moan stepped up. Yes, when mistakes were made, but ever focused. I thought she was really good. Perhaps the head dropped at times, but they really showed their quality and the level, the WSL for a reason. Us coming back from, goals down twice is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal as well. So really, really fantastic to see, especially since Man U, probably it's easy to say, dominated the performance. 67% possession that they had, 10 shots on target versus our 3. They've really, really given us a performance, but we brought it. They had 7 duels won, as did we. But we got no corners from that game, no cards during the match either, but 8 fouls to our 7. Now, what I will say is, I think the after-match reaction from Becky to salute the fans, just saying, she had goosebumps listening to the roar of the fans and appreciating the away support there. So absolutely tremendous stuff. Sad that the lasses did not get the fairy tale win, but even so, an absolutely amazing performance. So super proud of you lasses, and I know that we're gonna get some more silverware, so really happy with that. And what I want to do before I bring on our very special guest is I want to have a quick look at the league table, as I often do. And look, this time the TTR logo has not covered up the points, so I'm quite happy with my graphic skills there. I hope you are also. So you'll see that we've got Birmingham City on 20 points, along with Bristol City at the top of the table there. Newcastle United sat in 7th, but we are not a million miles away. And what I want to draw your attention is that we have 9 games played. This is because of the Blackburn Rovers game that has to be postponed. As you can see, they're on 9 games played as well. And I'll be quite confident that we can take the points from Blackburn Rovers. So just keep that in mind there as well. The last few results from the rest of the league this season, if you didn't manage to catch the game or you don't follow any of the other matches at all, you'll see Bristol City smashing Durham. You've also got the London City Lionesses, a 0-0 against the Blues and Charlton. But Sunderland, my goodness, this was a really surprising one for me. Portsmouth have been shocking this season. I'm going to show you the table again to illustrate my point here. 2 points from the season. They actually came up at the same time as we did. Really struggling with the intensity, the physicality, the familiarness that other teams actually have with this league. So for Sunderland to draw 2-2, trouble at mill. Very strange. I have to give credit where it's due. Sunderland are a really great team who are very familiar with this league. So that one took me for a bit of a surprise. But nonetheless, let me know what you feel about that in the chat. Now, I want to bring on my very special guest now. As promised, bringing you another interview. And this is to help you attend more matches. On this channel, we don't do watch-alongs for Newcastle United Women. We want to promote you to go, feel the atmosphere, come and join us in person down at those matches, and you'll feel the magic. You'll feel the excitement, the support that we have. It's absolutely tremendous. And somebody who's very critical to the away matches is my next guest, Michael. Now, Michael is an admin for the Newcastle United Women's Facebook page. Plays a huge role in our away matches as well, organising safety so we can travel down in our droves to go and support the lasses. So Michael, it is fantastic to have you here, and welcome to the Wor Lasses Show on the Toon Review.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you. So thank you for coming. And I think I'll probably kick off like straight away with, how long have you followed the lasses for, and probably what drew you to watching the matches?
Yeah, so I started following the lasses when we came out of lockdown. So it was the beginning of the 21-22 season. So they've had a couple of seasons being curtailed, being played behind closed doors, and then seasons being ended because of COVID. My daughter, 1 week into the first lockdown, decided she wanted to join a football team after I was trying to convince her for months and months. So she picked the right time to do that. So when we came out of lockdown, she joined a football club, and we started following the lasses. It wasn't too much long later that the Newcastle was taken over as well. And as we all knew, it became more and more difficult for fans to attend the games because of the demand, the ticketing situation. But because my daughter was playing football, we went to see the lasses, and she just fell in love. She saw girls playing football, and to her that was so inspiring and empowering for a young girl, seeing people do what she's doing. And it just kind of grew from there, and we attended quite a lot of games that season, and then thereafter we've been season ticket holders, travel home and away, and as you mentioned before, began organising the coach travel, and yeah, it's just fantastic.
So do you feel like you've got like a parental win under your belt, and then it's just gone from there?
100%. She started as you do. they start different activities. You know, she did gymnastics and a couple of other things, which never really stuck at them. And I kept trying to convince her to play football, and she was like, no, I just like watching it. She'd been to our first Newcastle men's matches in the months before lockdown, and they were both boring 0-0 draws. Typical Newcastle at the time. But no,
Cheers.
we came out of lockdown and we started playing, and she started following Lasses, and it was just completely different. So yeah, we absolutely loved it.
I love that. It's class. Yeah.
That's her in the background.
Good lass. Get yourself on. Do you know what's really exciting? I mean, the women's games becoming more and more popular, and you know, you've got your story how you get into it, but why should more Newcastle United fans like attend the Lasses matches? I know why I go. I absolutely love it. I think it's a great atmosphere, but from your perspective, like as a man, what do you love about going to Lasses games for? Is it like, you know, your daughter's sort of dragging you down there? Is it the standard of the game? What keeps you coming back?
I think it's a bit of everything, to be honest. A lot of the things you've mentioned. So obviously, as a parent to a young daughter, you know, like I said before, that inspiration, that empowerment for young girls to see their role models. We've seen it with the Lionesses in the last few years as well.
Yes.
So we were fortunate, my daughter and I, to go and follow England on that Euro journey. We went to the opening match, the group matches. We made it to the semi-finals and the final as well. So to be there for those kind of moments at such a young age, like, it's something I could never have dreamt of, because England men have never really had that experience when I was a kid. So for young children, girls and boys, to be able to see a team such as the Lionesses achieve what they've achieved. And then when we look at Newcastle Women, you know, that they've had back-to-back promotions, been to cup finals. Obviously the men's team now as well, under Eddie Howe, they've been to a cup final as well. So I think when you see your role models, whether it's men or women, and young boys, young girls, they aspire to be footballers when they grow up. And so many people want to do that. So that's a big driving factor. But I think also it's Newcastle United. So to me, it doesn't matter whether it's the men, the women, the reserves in the 21s, the academy. You want to see Newcastle United thrive, because the more that the club thrives, the more that the club grows and the more successful the club becomes in all areas, in all aspects. You know, you look at teams in the Women's Super League like Chelsea, Arsenal, City, United, you know, they've got kind of success stories themselves in both the men and women's game. And I think ultimately that's where Newcastle United want to be as well, having both the men and the women succeeding at the very top level. So yeah, the atmosphere, the family-friendly nature of it, the accessibility as well, because as I mentioned before, it can be quite difficult to get tickets to the men's games. So if you want to go and support Newcastle United, what easier way to do it than to get along to Kingston Park? You know, the tickets are fairly cheap and cost effective. The women play at St James Park a couple of times a season. So if you can't get the St James to watch the men, get the St James to watch the women, and you're still supporting Newcastle United.
Yeah, it's great. And I think, do you know what I'd like to think as a region, as Newcastle United fans, we've got this honor amongst us. We've got this pride amongst us that we just want to see our whole region doing really well. And I think it's that one club mentality. And I think now that you've seen the success of the women, you can go along and actually be proud of the performances that they're putting in, but to be part of the journey that they've been on. You know, I started supporting them probably at the back end of the 2021 season, and getting more and more interested, thinking, oh, this is quite interesting. Like, always supported Newcastle men's team. And then you're right, the accessibility, you can take families along as well. It's cost effective. It's a great atmosphere. And the roar of the crowds, like Bernie, oh my God, just like leading the chorus. I just absolutely love it. The war flag support as well. It's just tremendous to actually see it. And I'm really, really pleased about it as well. I mean, Tom's probably epitomized it perfectly here. United, are we not united? Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's sort of that one club mentality. And I think thanks to Amanda and the Lasses starting to go full time, getting those different opportunities, it's, you know, it's changed the course of history for us. But what I probably want to ask you about is, because I think what myself and Aaron maybe struggle with a lot of the time is getting the right information. And we interviewed Angela, who I believe you know, from the Newcastle United Women's fan group on Facebook. So folks, if you haven't seen it yet, please do go and check that one out, because Michael, what we've struggled with is sort of like the information that we get from the club, and how can we learn more about, like, injuries, tactics, the news that we get as well. I can go onto that Facebook page now, and it's brilliant. Like, there's loads of people in there sharing photos and cool stories and stuff, but there's a lot of news posts on there as well. So tell us, how did you become involved with the fan group? What's it like? Because I mean, that's exploded recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, so we set up initially after that first St James Park game a couple of years ago, by a gentleman called Gareth, and he just created it as a group for people to be able to kind of talk openly and freely about Newcastle women. He's got children himself, and they were inspired by what they'd seen that day. And it took a little while for that group to kind of get going, but it was the Tier 3 promotion season, and things just kind of blew, and the attendances started to creep up. They were playing at Kingston Park every week. The away attendances, although they were still low in total, the numbers were increasing week after week. And it became a source of, this is a safe place for everybody to discuss the women's team, which we've never had before. And now it stands at over 13,000 members on that Facebook group, which is fantastic. For a team that's been where it has been and where it is now in just such a short space of time, it's blew up exponentially. And I was quite an active poster on that group. I would post little away day vlogs when me and my daughter would go to away games, little match reviews, photos and things like that. And everybody else started doing the same. And, you get people posting stats on there, people posting reviews, pictures, and it just kind of grew. And I was asked if I would be an admin one day alongside Angela. And yeah, that's how I got involved in that side of things. I think the away travel helped as well. Obviously, having a focal point such as a Facebook group with that many members on, to be able to drive that awareness and that understanding of the away travel and how that came to be. And yeah, it's just a fantastic community. We've got kind of players' families on there. We've had players and coaches not be members, but pop onto the group in the past just to say kind of thank you for the support and things like that, which is brilliant to see. And I think that's testament to the community you have within women's football. It's a very different background and atmosphere to a men's game. Not that a men's game doesn't have a community, but it's just a different type of community when you're watching women's football.
Yeah, and you know what, you've spoke about it so much, but like having experience and all that with your daughter, and having those experiences is just brilliant. But it actually gives other people license and the ability to enjoy that as well. And that's what I want to sort of come on to next, because you've ended up sort of taking a bit of a lead role in arranging the away travel. And I'm going to bring up a couple of photos now of some great moments here. But how did you get into helping organising the away travel? Because we're actually known for our away support now. Like, it's great at Kingston Park. I mean, you can't match us, but you take us away from Kingston Park and we still bring it. So thanks to people like you. So how did you get involved with organising the away travel?
Yeah, so it was something that a few of us kind of spoke about, a bit informally, not with any kind of great depth or planning, to be honest. That final Tier 4 season, the 22-23, in fact, actually, it was the season before, the first season we were following, I took my daughter to a couple of away games myself. Once I knew that she was hooked and she was kind of fully in love with this, we had a couple of local games, kind of like Durham, Norton, and Stockton. Then our first proper away day as such, we went down to Tadcaster Albion to watch the women play against Leeds United. And it was the most Sunday League of Sunday League pitches.
Yeah.
There was a handful of fans there, most of them were players' families. And Rosie kept running behind the goal to get the ball when it went off the pitch and throw the ball back. She thought it was fantastic. And kept hearing these voices on these away days, because she would wear the purple goalkeeper top that Grace Donnelly was wearing, because she's a goalkeeper herself.
Yeah.
And I kept hearing these voices saying, "Oh, look, there's a mini Grace over there." Not knowing who it was, just thought it was someone who thought, "Oh, that's cute, little goalkeeper." And it turned out to be Grace Donnelly's mum. Then
Oh,
from games from there, that community kind of got tighter and more conversation at games. And we often spoke with kind of players' families and friends that we'd made, such as Angela. Rosie met a little girl called Olivia. We became friends with her and her parents. We all sit together at the matches. And that conversation just kind of grew about, wouldn't it be good if we could get a bus to a game one time? Because as you go up the leagues, the distances to stadiums becomes greater and it doesn't
yeah.
become easy for fans to get there. So we spoke about it tentatively for Bradford in the TF4 promotion season because the announced we were playing at Barry Parade, but the short notice we couldn't get a bus on. And then the final game of the season against Barnsley, we spoke about it again, but because it was a bank holiday weekend, all the coach companies wanted to charge through the roof. So
Yeah.
we just kind of left it there for the summer. And then the following season, people started talking about it again. And I was like, no, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to just take it off my own back and I'm just going to run with it. So I got some prices for buses off different companies and we had Nottingham Forest away at the City Ground and I thought, brilliant. Premier League stadium, surely we'll get enough people to fill a bus. If we don't, then it is what it is. And literally within a couple of days of advertising that bus, it was sold out. And it just kind of
Amazing.
grew from there. I put a bus on for Man United in the Cup at the start of this year. And within a day that had sold out, I had to put 2 more buses on in the end.
Is that
We
the
had
one you got like 200 fans for?
200 fans at 6
I've
o'clock
got
in
the
the morning.
picture
We
of this.
announced, yeah, that's
Look
the
at
one.
this,
So
everybody. Class.
St James's Park, 6 a.m. In the middle of January, so it was freezing cold. And we had 3 coach loads going down to Man United. And I think that day, I think it was somewhere in the region of about 13 to 1,500 Newcastle fans in Lee Sports Village that day. To the point where after the game, obviously managers, players go around, applaud their fans and stuff. Um, Mark Skinner, the Man United Women manager, actually purposely came over with some of his coaching staff and players, and he applauded the Newcastle fans. And he actually
So,
spoke very highly in his post-match interview about the level of support that Newcastle brought. And it was brilliant because Man United fans outside the ground were talking about us, saying, "Oh, best fans we've ever seen! Can't wait to live in the Super League." And
yeah.
then that grew. We did a bus to Wolves, did a bus to Burnley. We put 4 buses on for the cup final at Luton. We had West Brom last game of the season. We've done a bus to Birmingham and Man U this season, and we did the first ever Newcastle women's train. We got
I've got a picture of the train
yeah,
actually. Like this is like planes, trains, and automobiles. Like everybody's there,
yeah.
full kits, scarves, absolutely
It, it's
class. It's
fantastic, and you know what it is.
unreal.
You see it on men's away days. People sharing photos of groups on the
Yeah,
coaches, groups on the trains. Why not for the women? Like as I said before, this is Newcastle United, so it doesn't make a difference whether it's the men, the women. Like we're going to follow our club, we're going to follow our team, and that's exactly what we're doing. And it's funny because I joked after that first bus to Nottingham when it sold out. I joked with Pete and Angela and a couple of others that it won't be long. Give it a year or two, and we'll have busloads of fans leaving St James's Park. And it was literally the very next game against Man United that we did a bus for, and that's exactly what we had. And it's just fantastic. Like that game against Man U, we had Becky Langley come on the Facebook group. She's not a
no
member, but
way.
she popped on and she said like, "Thank you for the support. It's absolutely fantastic."
Oh my
We would
goodness.
get players and coach and staff retweeting the images, retweeting the posts and things like that. And yeah, Jamie's just said on the chat there, we had the entire stand in Lee Sports Village. We really did. It was absolutely fantastic. Um,
Unreal.
and yeah, it's amazing memories, absolutely amazing memories.
Do you know what I mean? Like, for I love a graphic, Michael. I'm a visual person. I like to bring up like stats and tell stories here. But I mean, these photos just are really fantastic. I mean, like how much fun people are having, like the smiles on everybody's faces. Like I'm loving the sign there. I'm assuming, is that your little in there?
That's my daughter. Yeah, she makes one of
Oh,
them signs every season and gets it signed by the players.
oh man, absolutely class. But it just looks like it's really, really probably a safe way for people to travel as well. They can just enjoy their environment on the bus. So what probably makes it like a great option for fans if they want to get away around with the away travel?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things you've mentioned there. Like it's really fun. There's a great atmosphere on the bus. We'll have competitions. We've done like quizzes and stuff like that, just to kind of make them longer journeys go
Yeah.
that little bit quicker. Like everybody's just chatting football. Everybody's chatting life, which is, this is our club at the end of the day. So whether people are talking about the season so far, talking about the players, as I mentioned, it's such a tight community. We've had players' families travel on these coaches as well.
Wow.
And it's like, imagine having like Bruno's dad, like he's quite popular on social media and he's always in the
Yeah.
crowded games. But imagine traveling on a bus with Bruno's dad, like
Yeah.
it's unheard of. But like we travel on the coaches with some of the players' families because it's accessible, it's cost effective. We try to keep the cost as little as possible to make it more accessible and affordable for fans to get there. Like I say, especially this season with us having gone to the championship, we've got places like London and Southampton and Portsmouth, long distance away games. And it's not just the coaches that I put on or the trains that I put on as well, with the help of Angela and the supporters club. But fans are doing this off their own back. Fans are finding different ways to get the games. Whether it's flying down, people have already booked their flights for Southampton, for example, in a couple of months' time. People were getting like National Express coaches down and flights and trains to Portsmouth at the start of the season. That was one that we couldn't do, just kind of the overall cost of it and the amount of people who were able to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to just accept that it's not feasible, but fans will find a way to get to these games because that's just what we do. Newcastle's known for its loyal following. And I actually want to tell a quick story about one of our most well-known fans. It's a gentleman called Matt. And Matt started following me on Twitter a couple of years ago, and we would often like each other's posts on the group and things like that. But I'd never actually met Matt in person until the start of the promotion winning season last season. And went down to Liverpool Feds with my daughter. This was before we had the first coach. Drove down as other people did. And like I say, attendance is starting to creep up. More and more people were driving and finding their ways to get these away games. And Matt doesn't drive, and he turned up at Liverpool Feds. And I think it was something crazy, like 3 trains and a bus that he'd got on to get to
Oh,
Liverpool
mate.
to go and watch the women against the Feds.
Dedication.
And that was just like, that was a really kind of light bulb moment for me of, wow, fans will go to these games, put the buses on and make it easier for people. And that's kind of where we went from. And that Liverpool Feds game as well, it was just played at like a sports hub, like the grassroots hubs where kids play
Yeah.
on like Saturday and Sunday. You've got the green fences around. It was just played at like a local sports hub, no fancy stadium or anything. And fans came out in their droves for that day.
Oh, we've got Angela here, Cozy Airways.
We've talked about it, like when Newcastle, not if, but when Newcastle Women get the Champions League and we're playing abroad, like we'll have to charter flights and all sorts.
Charter the jet. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Warm up the runway. But I mean, I think for me though, like why travel down, solo when you've got the opportunity to discuss the game, discuss tactics, the rest of the season, and find actually friends and people within a community. We're known as such spirited, passionate fans. Enjoy your travel, do it safely in a really cost-effective way. So I think it's absolutely tremendous what you do. So I think what's probably on everybody's lips is how can more people get access to the away travel? Is there a way that we need to tell people to do it? Where should they go to get booked on? Is it with yourself or the Facebook group? How can we get involved with away travel?
Yeah, so we always post every game on that Facebook group. So if you're not on it already, it's just Newcastle United Women's fan group on Facebook. Like I said, there's over 13,000 members on there. So you'll not be alone. Like there's hundreds and thousands of people for you to be able to chat football to. And we always post every away trip that we do on that group. Myself and Angela also share it on our own socials. So things like Instagram, Twitter, and so forth. We'll share it on there. But I've got to say a massive thank you to Newcastle United Supporters Club, who really helped us drive this and make it even more efficient. So when I first started doing this last season, I was just doing it off my own back, taking bank transfers, PayPal payments, manual list of people's names to check off and so forth. And then the supporters club actually reached out and just said, we've seen what you're doing and we think it's fantastic. If you need any support, we're here for you. They didn't have to do that. I didn't go to them. They came and just said, if you need any help, we're here for you. And then when it got to that Luton game against Xtra in the cup final, because we ended up taking 4 coach loads and we knew there'd be a massive demand, they said, look, if you want to use our booking system, which we use for our own men's travel, then we'll help you do that. And they've been fantastic. So rather than me taking payments and, there's a risk element there, there's the insurance aspect of it, there's a tax aspect of it and so forth. I didn't do this as a business. I did it just to help people. So they help do this in a kind of an organized and efficient way. They've got a brilliant booking system. You just go onto the NUFC website, nusk.uk, and any travel is posted on there and we share it in the Facebook group. And NUFC have been fantastic to us. They actually, when we did our first coach this season to Birmingham, without telling Angela and myself beforehand, on the day they told us that they wanted us to set £100 aside, so that they gave us £100 for us to do a prize draw on the away coach. So we did a raffle. Everyone got drawn a raffle ticket when they got on the bus. And on the trip home, we drew 2 raffle numbers out. Those 2 people won £50, which effectively was their coach travel reimbursed. Now, we don't do that every game. That's not me saying, come on the bus and you'll win £50 or anything like that.
So. Everyone's a winner, baby.
But it was a really nice gesture that me and Angela hadn't even done. And they just said, look, on this day, we want you to do this prize draw. It's a little thank you to the fans and a little gesture to them. So, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Like I said, there's such a good community, whether it's the fans, the players, the staff, the supporters clubs. Like, we're all in this together. We all want to see Newcastle succeed. And if we can do that as a community, all the better.
100%. And I actually checked out the supporters club. I have put all of the links in the chat, everybody. So if you're watching this on the rerun there, just switch over to the live chat, which will show you the live chat that's happened during the live session. All of your links are in there. I checked out the website and it's so cheap to actually join and get involved and have organized travel so you can go and enjoy the games, take the stress out. You don't have to think about the petrol or parking. It's just all done for you. So it's absolutely fantastic. So what's the best way that people can get themselves on a coach then?
Yeah, so if you join Newcastle United Supporters Club, like I said, the website is just nusk.uk. It's £5 for adults and £3 for kids for a whole season. And you have to be a member to travel on the coaches. It allows us to protect people and do things safely and securely and so forth. And then once you remember, any away trips, whether that's men or women, you can book onto. So, we've got a lot of fans who are season ticket holders for the men's or members for both teams. And it is, as Thomas just said there, it's really well organised. We've got a couple of great coach companies that we use. So I began by using JH Coaches last season. NUFC have got a great partnership with a company called Cumbria Coaches. We've used other coach companies in the past as well, but we pride ourselves on that relationship. We're respectful. We look after the coaches. We keep them in good condition. So we want to maintain that relationship with these companies going forward for years to come. And yeah, it's just fantastic. Join NUFC and come and join us on one of our away days. Like I said, there's raffles, there's quizzes. I remember coming back from, I think it was Luton. I think it was the cup final. I might be wrong on that, but I think it was the cup final. And one of the players' parents had done a joke raffle. She got joke prizes and did that off our own back on the way home. We've had the kids, so my daughter and I have, so my daughter and a friend, they've done their own raffles. They've raffled off like sweets and things like that in the past. We do get a lot of kids on the coach as well. We've had Bernie with a speaker and a karaoke machine. So
oh wow, I bet that was a loud journey.
I was a very loud journey. So yeah, just join us. Come and join us on one of our away coaches or away trains, and you'll enjoy it. You won't be disappointed. And when you watch the lasses, you'll see a great standard of football as well.
Yeah, 100%. So speaking of standard of football, before I let you go, Michael, I mean, they've been fantastic this season. You know, how do you think the lasses performed since we've stepped up into the championship?
I think they've done themselves proud, and the fan base as a whole proud as well. I think I'm an eternal optimist, and I still do believe that they can get promoted this season. I think if you look at the table, if we win with game in hand, we're only 2 points off the top.
Yeah,
And if
touching
you take the bottom three aside, anyone can beat anyone in that league this season. And we saw what Bristol did to Durham at the weekend. We went to Birmingham and beat Birmingham and Sunderland away from home. So like anyone can beat anyone in this league. It is so tight. And I think they've really done themselves proud. And if they get promoted, fantastic. If they don't, there's no shame in that, because what they've done in such a short space of time is incredible. But I think there's a lot of players who have really stepped up. Jazz McQuaid is an example. You know, Jazz joined us a couple of seasons ago when we were in Tier 4 as our development team. She then made a mark in Tier 3 last season, and now she's a regular starter in the championship. Then the call up to the Lionesses alongside Alicia, like that's the level of talent that we've got, and it's fantastic to see. And they are more than holding their own on the pitch in most games. We're not going to win them all. I think there's been a little bit of a reality check for some supporters, because in Tier 4 and Tier 3, we were winning games week in, week out, and quite convincingly as well. But it's fantastic to see how much they're holding their own in this division. And it's great to see the number of players who have been on that journey from Tier 4 all the way up to Tier 3 as well, and then into Tier 2 in the championship. So players like your Georgia Gibsons, who you had on last night, Liv Watt, Potsy, Katie Barker, Casey Elson, they've been on that journey, and I'd love to see players like that play in the Super League as well. And if not this season, it's going to come. It's going to come within the next year or two max.
Yeah, for sure. And just before I go back on the lasses who've been with us for a while, Wacky's our like West Ham fan who's like loyal to our channel because he just loves the banter. Just come up for the day, mate. Like we're
100%.
Yeah, we'll love to have you. Like, there you go. LG's even saying it as well.
Get yourself up and get yourself on one of our coaches.
Get yourselves on. You'll have a great time. But going back to what you said about the lasses who've been with us for the journey, I mean, remarkable. And the War Flags display, it's St. James's. Like, I think that just spoke to it. Donnelly, Gibbo on there as well, Barker. And by the way, for those in the chat, I do my little Sammy's Christmas list thing. The War Flags are actually selling those mini flags that were on display at that match as well. And you get like the free calendar too if you buy like a certain amount of mini flags. Just brilliant, iconic, like Grace in the retro keeper's kit as well, like retro badges in the background, really nicely designed. So please go and check out War Flags, and if you can set up either a one-off or a monthly donation, because they do support the lasses and it means the world to them people. So please go on and do that if you can.
100%. Cool. Those War Flags donations, that was another aspect of kind of the community pulling together. So when he arranged the bus for Man United, I thought to myself, and Angela was the same, like, wouldn't it be great if we could get some sort of display for the women's teams one time? And we thought, low kind of attendance venues, we're not going to be in a ground that's got 50, 60, 70,000 fans. Wouldn't it be great to try and have some flags? So we both reached out to War Flags, thinking, something might come of it, something might not. And they were so quick to respond and said, yeah, let's see what we can do. And they gave us hundreds of flags to take down to Man U for that game. Unfortunately, Man U wouldn't allow us to take them inside the ground. They got the big heads on and thought, no, they told us that they were a weapon. So we could take the flags in if the flags went on the poles, because the poles were classed as a weapon. But then the following home game from there, we put black and white flags out, and War Flags had done it a couple of times in the past for the women's team. But at that point, it then become right, let's set up a women's focus group. So there's myself, Angela, and a few others who have been with War Flags for a long time. And, we talk about ideas and display designs. coordinate who's setting displays up pre-match, putting them away post-match. And I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination. I couldn't design a stick man. But being in the group and seeing some of the designers put these ideas together, that's like that process of the Grace Donnelly one you mentioned. It's one of my favourites with the retro at top.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. And the girls who helped design that did a fantastic job. And as you say, they're on sale now. Like, get your stocking fillers. Why not? Like you say, you buy 2 and you get a free calendar as well for 2025.
I know. I was on Michael as soon as I saw the War Flags post.
Fantastic.
I was like, I love those at St. James's. They've just got such a vibe, and I think we're all about the history. We're about the nostalgia. That's the history of the lasses right there. So get yourselves on.
That's why that came to fruition. Yeah. So we thought, like, who deserves a display? So the first one we did was Becky Langley. Last season we did a big flag of Becky, and we had one of our quotes. And then we've done, like, we had a beautiful one for Colin Locke. God rest his soul, who passed away in the summer. We got a wonderful flag of Colin. And what I will say is, hats off to Sunderland, because they allowed us to take that Colin Locke flag into the Stadium of Light. I think in the men's game you wouldn't have got that, but in the women's game you absolutely did, because he was such an important figure to both Sunderland and Newcastle and North East football as a whole. So we did that wonderful flag as well. And then it was like, what's next? And it was the legacy players, the Graces, the Katies, the Georgias, and so on. And it just kind of spiraled from there. It was, we knew Newcastle were doing the retro kits and things like that. There's been talk about Adidas coming back. What are the kits going to look like? We've got the burgundy and blue, for example. So that was the inspiration for Katie Barker's. We'll keep that top for Grace. And like I say, you watch these designs come to life, and it's absolutely fantastic to see it. And there's so much more planned as well. It's going to be fantastic.
Do you know what? It's really interesting to hear the process, because, you know, like I'm a nut. Like, people will tell you how much Newcastle like merch I've got. The tops, I kind of get enough of it. But to hear like the background of the flags, that's absolutely class. So get yourselves onto War Flags, cheeky little donation, buy yourself a little bit of history on there. But I do have a little super chat in here. Phil from Canada, you're all right, mate. $13.99. Thank you so much for all your work on TTR, especially for the lasses. You're our fave. Thanks. Merry Christmas, Sam. You're welcome. And thank you very much for your donation. It's very much appreciated. But Michael, I am going to let you go, but thank you for educating us on how more people can get away, support the lasses. You know, I think it's absolutely tremendous what you do. So I really appreciate your time tonight. We will certainly keep promoting it on this channel as well. So folks, the links are in the chat. We'll post them in the comments after as well. So get yourselves to an away match and support the lasses for us. But thank you, Michael, for your time tonight.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for having me on. All the best, and have a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Michael. Catch you later. Ta-da.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So that was Michael, everybody. I mean, what a guy. What an absolute guy. Matt Lewis, yes. Nice one, Michael. Fair play with all you do. Have a good evening. Couldn't have said it better myself. I probably could have said it with a bit more passion and vigor, but we will take that. PD Proudlock, cheers. Michael, absolutely. We've then got Ian. Hey, Ian. Great guest. 100%. So much effort goes into that, and to do it off his, you know, own back, and getting the camaraderie of the, you know, other fans, the likes of Angela, to help and support. You know, they've got the group now on Facebook where you can get all your using stuff to support with the War Flags. I mean, this is the stuff. This is the 12th man type of stuff right here. So I can't thank everybody involved. It's just phenomenal, because this is what creates, you know, winning sides that get promotions like the lasses have been doing. So just absolutely phenomenal. I am going to start wrapping up now and going through a few comments. Trev, hey there, mate. Great show, great guest. Smiley face. That's my impression of that emoji. Hashtag nailed it. Bald Geordie here. Not my dad, funnily enough. My dad is also bald. Great show, Lady Sam and Michael. Thank you again. You are most welcome. Julie J, one of our mods. Aha, we've got a Christmas cow amalgamation going. We'll absolutely take that. Love you, Sam. Paul, much respect, mate. We've also got Phil from Canada. Will be signing up for that coach plan. I doubt if I will be. It'll be stopped near my house in Canada. It is all about the support, mate. It is about the support as well. So yeah, great stuff from that and super good value as well. John Green, hey there, mate. Always in the chat nice and early. Hey, how you doing? 2 great nights, 2 great guests. That's what we are all about. Simon Rudd, don't you mean 12th woman? Oh, God, yes, call me out on that. Absolutely. 12th player. It's hard to break that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Call me out on it next time. Absolutely. In the meantime, that is a wrap on the Wor Lasses show before Christmas now. What I want to say is thank you to everybody who has started following this show as part of the TTR family. The great content that we produce here for the Wor Lasses and obviously for the men's channel as well. That's been going for a number of years, but the response to this has been absolutely unbelievable. And we've said from the very start that this is to help to promote the lasses, to promote the team, to promote women in sport. We follow the Lionesses as well and their successes. And believe it or not, we've got a fantastic following already, and we've only actually produced 15 shows, including this one tonight. And it's been absolutely unbelievable. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you before Christmas to our repeat loyal viewers and to everybody who's joining us for the first time as well. People who are, you know, finding us and tuning in either live or watching it on repeat. It's so appreciated. It really does help what we do. And we're bringing you these types of guests because we want to let you in onto what actually goes into the support for the women's. You know, we've had Georgia Gibson on last night and you heard what it means to them to get behind and show the support as well. But that is all for this week. That is all from the Wor Lasses until after Christmas now. So please do be tuning in. We'll of course let you know when the new shows are going to be scheduled. Thank you to our mods for your support this season following the Lasses so far. Thank you to our very special guest tonight, which was Michael. Your super chats, talking to each other in the chat as well, and most importantly, thank you so much for watching. Howie the lads and lasses. Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye. Come back and check out the green.